Hello everybody, welcome to the Red Devil Experience. How you all doing? Hope everybody is doing well. Aston Villa 0, Manchester United 0, and what was really pretty boring game. I mean, I guess a decent result for Erik Ten Hag. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? What happens next? Will Erik Ten Hag still get the sack? We're going to do live player ratings. We're going to break down the match. We're going to analyze the match. We're going to get into it. Real quick, please smash the like button for me if you can. It greatly helps out the channel and helps us grow. So if you could do that and you enjoy the content, I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not a subscriber and you want to subscribe and join our community, we have lively discussions all the time. Go ahead, smash the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a live. So, I think today we played a very good game defensively. We were well more structured. We were definitely stronger in defense and just shape and all that. But we lacked creativity up front yet again, and this team seems to be real inconsistent on that front. This team seems to, if we're defensively good and we're structured, we lack creativity and we lack chances up front, and we lack scoring goals up front as well. But if we're a little bit, more attacking prowess, a little bit, more attacking intent, a little bit more open, we concede way too much. So I think there's just the inconsistency in that. In the team, you can see that, we can't really find a balance. It's either we're defensively good and then we can't score, or we score a couple goals, but then we are not very good defensively. So, I mean, I don't know, what happens now with Erik Ten Hag. I did say prior that I believe that, if he got a draw, he would probably live on. I think it would give INEOS an excuse to not sack him because, I don't think INEOS want to sack him. So, I don't think he's actually probably going to get sacked. I know many people obviously still want him to get sacked. There's obviously fans of ours out there for whatever reason, as much as you might want him to be sacked, they wanted us to actually lose today. I wanted us to win, as much as I think that, probably his time is up. I mean, it is our worst ever Premier League season start ever. And we had one worst start under Ten Hag this season. I think it's the worst this season. And then it's, he topped his own worst start, which was last season as well. So he holds the record for two of the worst Premier League starts, in a season for Manchester United in the history of the club. So not a good record for Erik Ten Hag to hold. And I'm today I can't come in here. I'm not gonna, there's no fake rage. There's none of that. I think the game, in my opinion, was very boring. Grace is in here, our moderator. Good to see you, Grace. Grace is saying what a brilliant game was on the edge of my seat. Game of the season so far. Yeah, I think Grace is with me on that. I think it was a very boring game. There was moments where I was struggling to keep my eyes open, really, because I didn't get enough sleep. And it just wasn't really an exciting game. I mean, even from both teams. I mean, Aston Villa were wasteful when they did create opportunities. I think United didn't create many opportunities. So it was really one of those games that, we probably could have played for another 20 or so minutes and you probably wouldn't have found a goal from any other from either team. I got to get into real quick before we get into the deeper stuff of the match. The referee today was absolutely horrible. He was awful. I mean, he gave United, I don't know how many yellow cards off of like 6 challenges or so. I mean, the guy was absolutely terrible, and it was only United. Every foul United did, it was a yellow card for United. Aston Villa foul players, no yellow cards. It took 96 minutes for Aston Villa to get their first yellow card. So, the referee was abysmal, absolutely trash. He's a disgrace. Shouldn't be reffing games in the Premier League. I mean, a lot of the refs in the Premier League are really, really bad. The standard of refereeing has really gone down in the Premier League, and I don't know what they need to do to fix it. Better training or something. But I mean, he was one of the worst referees I've ever seen ref a game. And we could probably grab a ref from Sunday League and he would have ref that game better. So atrocious refereeing from him. But that's besides the point, because really we're here to talk about the match, and we're going to do live player ratings. So we have a poll running, and the poll is, so get involved and vote in the poll. The poll is, do you think that Ten Hag gets sacked after today's results? So not if you want Erik Ten Hag sacked. Do you think INEOS will pull the trigger and sack him? Because I'm not so sure. I don't think so. I predicted prior that if he managed to get a draw out of Aston Villa, I don't think that they're going to sack him. Now, there is the circumstance that it is our worst ever Premier League start ever in Manchester United's history, ever. So, that might be grounds to do so. Plus, we're still in 14th place and we haven't moved from the table. So, those things don't help him. But in terms of, Aston Villa playing much better than us, they're in a much better position. We played away from home. We didn't concede a goal. So, there might be that or those optics. Lines is in here. Lines is saying, man, I've heard more exciting. I've had more exciting shits than this game. Yeah, I mean, it really was a boring game. I almost don't even know really what to talk about during the match, because it just seemed like there wasn't much in the game anyway to really break down and discuss, but we're going to try and do our best. We could talk and touch on a couple players. I think I was expecting Maguire and Johnny Evans to come in, or somebody of that nature. I think the way Martinez and De Ligt played the last two matches in a row, they were really bad. I kind of expected it. I still don't accept Erik Ten Hag's excuse of rotation. He wants to call it rotation and doesn't want to call it dropping them for shit performances. And maybe that's because he's got in trouble in the past for mentioning that, a player's performance wasn't good enough or whatever. So, it is what it is. But we all know what it is. It's all because, they played very, very poor. And he dropped him out of the team and switched him. And I think, to be fair, Maguire played very well. Sad for him to go off injured like that. He's probably going to be out for a while, because when it's an injury like that, if you give him, he's, when it's an injury like that, you're probably out for a long time. And it's sad to see, because I actually think that he did a pretty good job coming in, and he was strong. And not for nothing, but I know everybody used to give him a lot of shit, but I gotta give the guy a lot of respect, because he at least he plays for the badge. You know what I mean? He plays for the badge. Like he does give his all when he's on the pitch. Sometimes his ability isn't good enough, but I mean, he does give his all, and you can't fault him for that. And he's been through a lot of adversity. Another player that was good was also Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans, 36 years old. Sky gave him man of the match, I believe. And I think rightfully so. He was very strong, very solid today. And I think that's all you need to say if Sky is giving Johnny Evans, 36-year-old centre-back for Manchester United, who almost retired a season or two ago. I think that's all you need to know to sum up the match, really. But excellent performance, really, from Johnny Evans. And Johnny Evans, he gets what the club is. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, his age hinders his mobility a little bit, and maybe slightly his ability, but his ability was still very good today. If he was a little bit younger, he would probably be, balling out like some other players. But Yeah, big respect to Johnny Evans because he understands. He's the only legacy player left from the Ferguson era. He's the only legacy player that knows what Manchester United is supposed to be and what it's really about, and the winning Manchester United. And when he goes on the pitch, he always shows it. He always shows it. You know, even if he is limited by his age and his pace at certain moments in the match, he always does show it. So, you know, big respect to Johnny Evans. I thought he was going to come off because he was injured. I think Mazawari was substituted. Hopefully he's not injured. But again, we saw a problem as to what happened. I think Victor Lindelof did very good when he came in, had to play right back. And again, this is the problem that we have. I don't understand why Harry Amos can't be called up to the squad. We are short left backs. We're playing both our right backs in the starting lineup. Mazawari goes off injured, or had to be pulled off in precaution of a serious injury. And we have to play a centre-back at right-back and continue to play Delo on the left. Meanwhile, if we had in there Harry Amos, you know, in this circumstance, you could push Delo back to the right and play a left-back and a left-back. And I just don't understand why they won't call the kid up. We are short positions and it's hindering us. And if it wasn't for Lindelof coming on and actually putting in a good performance, then, you know, if he came in and he played bad, we would have been totally screwed. And then Ten Hag would have lost that match, and he definitely would have been facing down the barrel of the sack. Couple people are joining in here. Lines is in here. Good to see you. Lyle, you guys in here. What do you guys think of the match? How you guys feeling? You know, what do you think about Erik Ten Hag? Do you think he's gonna get sacked? Do you think they're gonna pull the trigger over the international break? You know, my mind is kind of split on it. I see it 50-50 to be honest with you guys. You know, so what are you guys saying? Grace is saying watching my washing machine spin is more exciting. I mean, you know, we could use the old adage, Grace, and you know, watching paint dry would be more exciting. I got another one, but it's not really PG or PG-13. It's a little bit vulgar, but I think I could spin it into watching two flies do it would be more exciting than that match. So there you go. There's an explicitive in there, but we'll change it for the YouTube. You know. But yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. And she's also telling me if I give Rashford more than a 0.5, you're getting a timeout. So my moderator's threatening to time me out from my own channel for giving Rashford more than a 0.05. I think that's a little harsh, Grace. We are gonna do the player ratings, of course. I think a 0.5 is a very harsh rating. I don't think he was that bad. I really don't even know what to rate all the players. I mean, they're probably going to get most of them. I think, you know, attacking wise, they were very underwhelming. So around a 5 at least. I don't think you can really give, you know, too many. You know, it's a lot of average scores and below average scores because I think we were very lackluster. Lions doesn't think he's going to get the sack, and I could see part of that and see a reason why. Lyle saying if we are a solid team, we would have won that game. Villa was there for the taking. I called it, and they would be flat after the barn high. Well, you did say that, and they were a bit flat. They were a bit flat, Lyle. They were. You know, they weren't on their best game today. They were, you know, wasteful with the chances that they created. They're, you know, the chances in their final third, they were very, I was actually, I don't want to say the word disappointed, but I was almost like a bit surprised in that manner because of how just lackluster they were in the final third. I thought they were going to be a little bit more dangerous. I thought they were going to be a little bit more, you know, threatening, and they really weren't. And I guess, you know, I mean, you did say it, but I mean, I guess you were right that, you know, they were a bit flat after the barn high. He's saying, to be honest, fly porn is my favorite PH category. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a category. There's a category for everything, apparently. The Lines is liking that, so yeah, very interesting. At least the chat's interesting today. At least the chat's interesting because the show definitely, I mean, the The show is interesting. The match was not interesting at all. I guess where we could go from here, because I don't, there wasn't too much to break down. I was a bit surprised by the midfield. I was worried about the midfield. Honestly, my opinion when I saw the lineup was like, this guy is really trying to get himself sacked. Like, he wants to get himself sacked today. I didn't think it would work out that defensively. Now, Grace, you could say whatever you want about Marcus Rashford and how good he was today. And you're always welcome to give your opinion, and I always respect it no matter what. But we did see today that, the team did set up very defensive. Rashford did have to track back, and he was actually playing defense today, which I don't think he enjoyed. He ended up getting, a yellow card. Almost got a second yellow card. I thought he was going to get sent off, and then got pulled off immediately after that, which I think was the right move, because, Rashford, as much as we need him to track back and kind of just be a body there, he obviously isn't very good at defending. And, I think he was getting a bit frustrated anyway, which is why he made that second tackle right after he got the yellow card. So I think that was a good move by Erik Ten Hag, because I think if he left Rashford on there, Rashford definitely would have got a second yellow. He was on his final thing. So, he had to take him off. But I mean, listen, he had to be back there. He had to be back there because the team shape, we were so deep. And I'm pretty sure it was made clear to him after getting pulled off in the Porto match for not tracking back that, if you don't track back, you're coming off again. So, yeah. What are you guys saying? What disappointed me is the fact that United matched them energy-wise, and we offering nothing. Well, that's the thing, Lines, and I was saying that. I mean, Lyle. I'm sorry. That's the thing that I was saying, is that, like, maybe not even that we matched them energy-wise, right? But because we play slow. We play slow. We don't play direct. We play build-up. Right? We play slow build-up. We play possession. That's just how we play under Erik Ten Hag. It's how it is. And we have a couple moments where we do beautiful one-touch passing, boom, 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 and it's quick and it looks nice. But that's for small margins of the match. And I don't understand why we can't do it more, why the players can't do it more, or why they're not allowed to do that more. Because I actually, when we do that, I actually like it. I think it looks very good. It looks very nice, and I think it works well. But we don't do it enough. So I don't really understand, why we can't do that. Is it the system, the players, is it both? So we still don't have the answer to that. Some people will say it's the system, some people will say it's the players, and some people will say both. But really, it's just a strange thing. You see moments of it in the match where we do, they get in little triangles and they do beautiful one-touch passes, and it's quick and it works effectively, and you're like, all right, we're getting into a rhythm. You get a little bit of hope. You're like, all right, we're getting into a rhythm. We're fine. We're getting our foot in the game. And then it just doesn't happen for another 15, 20 minutes, and you're like, what the hell? So, I don't understand really why that's a thing, but it is. I don't think Grace is happy with me saying certain things about Rashford. Lines is saying, and why do we only have one bloody striker? I mean, yeah, that's another good point to bring up so that I could talk about. I mean, you see the complete and utter difference between Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. They might both be kind of big or tall, but they are two completely different styles. And when, one is on the pitch compared to the other, we play in two completely different manners. I mean, Zirkzee is definitely way more of a target man. He definitely lacks in terms of, like, trying to break the line, trying to, complete a couple dribbles, dribbling. His technical ability in dribbling as well lacks a little bit, I think, and the pace, and he lacks in pace as well. And I think Rasmus offers good pace. I think Rasmus offers a little bit more strength. I think Rasmus offers a little bit more directness up top. And I think that's why, from here going forward, I think Rasmus Højlund will be starting as many games as possible. I think, Rasmus probably would have been starting if he wasn't injured, and, Xerxes was starting and he was in there for that reason. So we have more of our wonderful community members are joining as well. Richard Hawkins is in here, longtime Manchester United fan. Definitely has been through the ages of Manchester United, probably has the most experience out of all of us in here. So we always love when Richard comes in here because he has a lot of insight and experience, and we value his opinion very, very highly. Lyle saying lucky Rashford was still on the pitch, to be honest. Well, listen, I get it. I get that notion. But I mean, the refereeing for me was absolutely ridiculous today, Lions. Lyle. Every single foul we did was a yellow card. I think we had 6 fouls and 4 yellows. And every foul they did, they never got a yellow. They got a yellow in the 96th minute of the match after, grabbing our jerseys. Maguire got a yellow for his hand somehow hitting the guy in the face barely. Their player smacked our player in the face with his arm and no yellow for them. So, I think Rashford didn't get the second yellow because I think the ref knew in the back of his mind that, the first yellow was probably bullshit to give anyway. I think it was ridiculous. Bruno Fernandes, on his best behavior, didn't receive a yellow card today. I think he was well aware of that. But you did see that, he wasn't really going into any type of challenges at all. He was kind of laying back a little bit off, which is probably the smarter decision since, he did have a red card, but that got rescinded and then he got double booked in the Porto match. So, yeah. Lions is saying even Moyes had more. I mean, yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I mean, we literally have our worst ever Premier League start to a season in Manchester United's history. So it is very, very bad. Very, very bad. If you're new and you're just joining us now, get involved in the poll, get involved in the chat, give us your opinions. What do you guys think? We want to hear from you. Everybody has a voice. Everybody is welcome to say something. Don't be shy. Get involved. And smash the like button for me if you can. Because it helps us grow and we greatly appreciate it. So if you could do that for me, I greatly appreciate it. And if you're enjoying the content. Richard, our most experienced member in here, saying, however, I still don't think I might have missed his original comment, but he said, however, I still don't think this will get him the sack, so we will still be talking about it in 3 months' time. You think he's going to be here for another 3 months, Richard? Because even if he doesn't get the sack, right, from this result, which I think, in my mind, it could probably go 50-50 at this point. They might sack him. Again, we don't know. We do know that INEOS, or part of INEOS, are reluctant to sack him. Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth really don't want to sack him. We know Sir Jim is unhappy with the way things are going, and he's putting more pressure on Barada and Ashworth to, do something about it, or make the change, or whatever they got to do their job. Basically, he's putting pressure on them. I don't think Sir Jim and co watching the match, and they did show a couple images of them, and then even after the game was over, the way, in the manner that Sir Jim left the stadium, I don't think he looked too pleased. I think he is very displeased. I think if it was up to him, he might have sacked. He might sack him after today, but I don't know if he's going to step on the toes of his CEO and co. So, we got to wait and see what's going to happen. But I don't think, maybe he'll be here in 3 months' time. I think it really depends on the results. While this wasn't a positive result necessarily, and it wasn't a negative result necessarily, because it's a draw and it really hasn't done much except for, stopping a loss and, us being embarrassed. And we gained 1 point out of it. After the international break, if he's still here, we have to play Brentford and then we have to play Fenerbahce. If we play Brentford and we don't get a win from Brentford, right? And I believe Brentford are home. So it's, and Brentford play pretty decent football, and they'll be attacking. And, I think if you get a draw or you get a loss. They might sack him after that, and if they don't do it after that, you got to go play Fenerbahce, which is going to be a very, very tough match. We're also away from home in that match, and if you don't get a win in that match, surely he's going to be sacked. So I still think if INEOS don't sack Erik Ten Hag in the international break, which I think is still a possibility, because there's just part of me that feels like, you know, they're not too thrilled with the position we're in. And the last two results really, you know, we needed a win somewhere. We needed to win somewhere. He didn't get the win. And you really needed to win to kind of give yourself a little bit of an extra push, a little bit of an extra edge, and he didn't get it. So I think there is still a good chance that they might sack him. They might sack him. I mean, it's an international break. There's a long period of time. There's a time to sit around and discuss, and let us not forget that there is a meeting between the entire board on Tuesday. So, you know, while it might not happen tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, they might decide to sack him, because they are going to have a meeting, and it depends what comes out of that meeting. So it's still a possibility, for sure. Richard's saying there's still no structure to the play. Yeah, I mean, for me, what it is it's evident that, you know, we want to play possession, hold the ball. And it's slow build up. We play slow build up. We don't play direct. We don't play necessarily counter. I think it changes a lot from game to game. You know, and then even in the play, sometimes we go from playing this slow build up possession, we start hitting long balls over the top that don't really work. You know, it's a very weird setup that we have right now, and it's not very good. And I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I try to make sense of what it is, but that doesn't mean that I, you know, agree that we should be playing in that manner, or that I like that we play in the manner we play in. I actually very much dislike the way we play. I very much disagree in the manner in which we play. It's not my style of football. It's not my identity. It's not football that I grew up enjoy watching. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I get very bored watching it sometimes. So yeah, you know, Grace saying the last time I saw a triangle was in my maths book at school. I mean, I thought you were going to say, Grace, the last time you saw a triangle was the bag of Doritos you were eating. But yeah, that's a good one too. I always lose my maths book was rectangular. Yeah, I mean, we're talking shapes now, but Grace is saying I'm the oldest here. Sit down, children. Are you really, Grace? Are you older than Richard? I don't believe that. If you're older than Richard, you are one of the most interesting people ever. Lyle saying, yeah, the ref, yeah, very weak officiating today. I think it was just extremely biased. I'm going to call it out for what it is. I think it was extremely biased. It was clearly he had something against United. I don't know what it is. I don't even know his name, to be honest. But somebody look him up. I'm sure, you know, there's some refs that people know who they support. And I think extremely biased. You know, every foul we had, and all right, maybe some of them were yellows, but you know, it was two sets of rules, two sets of officiating for two different teams. You know, United do something, you get a yellow immediately. Villa, you make the same foul and certain fouls, you know, for 90 minutes of the match, not a single person got a yellow. Took them till the 96th minute to get a yellow card. I think absolutely ridiculous. And you know, if you're gonna ref a match like that, you know, either you put him against Bournemouth and Southampton, or you send him down to the Championship, because I think it was very shit refereeing. You know, totally biased, totally just incompetent. So. Richard saying the only positive was from a 36-year-old Johnny Evans, and that's really kind of what I'm saying. Like, you know, Johnny Evans to me was very good, very solid, and you know, Sky gave him the man of the match. And when you're giving a 36-year-old centre back man of the match, it really just tells you how exciting the game was, which wasn't at all. There wasn't really much in the game. I mean, Bruno Fernandes had a good free kick. I was screaming at the TV. Placement. Don't go for power. Placement. A little bit unlucky there. I think it was a very good take. Smacked the crossbar. I can't really remember too many other chances. I think there was a post hit at one point. Martinez did very well on certain shots. And he's a very good goalkeeper, and he's been on top of his game, and he's definitely grown a lot since his Arsenal days, and he's in my opinion, he's one of the better goalkeepers probably in the world. He's a very good shot stopper, and he could kind of do a little bit of everything. So he played very well as well. Richard saying, yeah, the referee showed more cards than L's Vegas Casino. Well, I couldn't help but think that I was like, this guy might be match fixing or something. I don't know if he has a yellow card quota he had to get out. I don't know if, he took bets on certain players in Manchester United or Manchester United to get over a certain amount of yellow cards, but it definitely seemed that way. And I would be concerned, if I'm in the Premier League, whatever it is, commission for efficacy or whatever, because it definitely seemed like something funny was definitely going on there. Ray is also in here, so good to see you, Ray. Grace is saying, what's everybody's favorite brand of dishwasher? I mean, this is what we're going to talk about today. I mean, if you have a favorite brand of dishwasher, put it in the chat, I guess, for Grace. Axe is saying, to be honest, I haven't seen most of the match because my schedule, from what I saw, it wasn't bad. I hope they keep Erik Ten Hag, let the squad grow into his system. Also, Rat out, and for those of you that don't know, he is calling for Sir Jim Ratcliffe out because he is a plague. So, Axe backing Erik Ten Hag, and wants Sir Jim out, has always been Sir Jim out, doesn't like Sir Jim out. Axe is also saying Glaze is out, which I think we all still agree with for sure. But it's good to get the different opinions. Axe still backing Erik Ten Hag. He still wants to see a little bit more patience with Ten Hag. He thinks that good things will come. If we continue with him and then the players get more fit into the system. I just find it a little bit. I don't really know what to make of it, because like I said in the beginning, and some of you weren't here for it, so I'll say it again. I just think that, our team is very consistently inconsistent in many different ways in different areas. I think the times we play, when we set up kind of in the way that we did today, right, which was much more defensive, we were deeper in line, but we kept the shape, which was good. I think that's an encouraging and positive thing, that we kept the shape. We were structured well in terms of defense. We were structured well, and we did our jobs in defense. But when we do set up like that and play in that manner, we really struggle to create going forward. We struggle to get good chances or dangerous chances. And then when we play in the manner where you kind of see like where we played against Porto, which was we were much more open, but we were also creating a lot more, especially in the first half of the Porto match. Before we gave up the goals. And then we give up goals, so it's like it's like it's always with this team under Erik Ten Hag, it's always one or the other. We can't get a complete performance, and it just I don't know what to really make of that, because it's like you can't have that, and I don't know if you're necessarily gonna find the answer to that. Is that gonna get sorted out? I hope it does, especially if he's still here and he's continuing on, which he is for the moment, so we're going to speak in that manner. But I just don't know, why we can't get some type of a complete performance. We seem to only do one or the other. It's very, very strange. We either defend very well and can't attack and can't score goals, or we score a couple goals and then we can't defend for our damn lives. And it's like, why is there such an imbalance in the squad? Why is there such an imbalance when we're playing on the pitch? Why can't we defend but also create good chances and score a couple goals? You know, but I really don't understand it. I don't know if it's a system issue. I don't know if it's the players. I really don't know. I don't know, but you know, maybe we'll get the answer to that at some point. But it wasn't Axe. It wasn't, since you didn't see all the match, it wasn't a bad performance in terms of defensively. I think offensively wasn't great. It was boring in that manner. But defensively and structurally, I think we were pretty good in that aspect. We played pretty good. Now, I think Villa were a little bit lackluster themselves, and they still created some sort of dangerous chances, but we still did much better defensively. You know, we also, I think I noticed that there was moments where, you know, we did try to play out of the back, but there was also moments where we turned to like no nonsense defending, and if you got the ball in a position maybe the player felt uncomfortable or nervous, they were just booting it out and just getting it out, which I think also helped, because I think sometimes we do try to play out of the back in certain very dangerous positions, and then if we don't execute it very well, we lose the ball in a very, very dangerous spot and we get punished for it. So I think that was probably an encouraging change. But yeah, just I'm disappointed with the attacking display today. Wasn't enough, wasn't good enough. We had a couple moments there that were okay, but nothing obviously came out of it. So Lyle saying the entire INEOS team being at the match for me is telling. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely, there is an aspect to that, Lyle, for sure. I mean, you saw that lineup. I mean, that I wouldn't want. Listen, I mean, if I'm the manager at this moment in time and I have the results that I have and I have the pressure on top of me, I tell you what I don't want to do. I don't want to see that picture, or I don't want to look up and see them sitting across in a row like that. I mean, that shot of them sitting there, if that doesn't tell you pressure is on you, like, and you are, close to losing your job. I mean, I wouldn't want to walk into a room and see them sitting across like that with the results that I have. If I was in a good light, I wouldn't give a shit. But if I'm under the pressure and I'm getting the results that Ten Hag has gotten and the scrutiny that he's gotten, I would not want to walk into a room and see all those people lined up like that with Sir Jim and Sir David Brailsford and even Sir Alex Ferguson at the end of the row. I always want to know, comments they make during the match. Like, I would love to know. I would love to be like sitting right behind them so I could hear what they're saying. Because I would always just find it interesting. Like, I want to hear them, like, unfiltered and real. Like, what's Fergie saying? What's Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying? What's Omar Barada saying to Ashworth and Wilcox and stuff like that? So, yeah, but that shot, I think, it's probably somewhere on social media. It could very well become iconic. Axe saying that post by Bruno, man. Yeah, it was a good take. Lacking a little bit of luck. Just went on the top part of the bar when it could have went on the bottom part of the bar. But I think it was a very good take by Bruno. He was a little bit more quiet today. I think Mainu played all right at moments, but he also struggled. The midfield was interesting because I thought we were going to get absolutely cut open, but I think we didn't get cut open because we sat so deep, and we kind of stayed compact. Now, at times, we did get a little bit counterattacked, and we were a little bit exposed, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because honestly, when I seen that lineup, I did really think that this guy is really trying to get paid. Like, he is really trying to get sacked today. Because I was just like, you switched to two center backs, which, I didn't have a lot of confidence in the center backs because you just never know. I mean, they could have a brilliant game like they did, or they could get absolutely, burned for pace, cut open, get caught out of position because they don't have the best pace, Evans and Maguire. But they did good today. They did good. But then I was like, so you have that. But then I was like, you also look at the midfield, and I was like, well, Bruno is there. You know, he's going to be floating around and drifting, but he was obviously deeper than usual because the team was deeper than usual. And then there's Kobe, who I see as a box to box, and then there's Eriksen, who I see kind of as like the DLP or just a regular playmaker. But I was like, Eriksen never instills confidence in me in the defensive aspect. Like, I don't expect him to win balls back. I don't expect him to make tackles. So when I see it like that, I'm like, well, that's one player out of the midfield. I was like, Bruno, it depends where he's positioned. You know, if they move the ball up quickly, Bruno's out of the play already. So I was like, it really just always ends up on Kobe. And I think Kobe had a lot to do, and he probably wasn't even 100% fit because, he wasn't really fit. So he might have been like 90% fit. He did have to get subbed off. And I think it was the good move because Kobe was dead. He was dead. He was dead by like the 70th minute or whatever. So, yeah. So Jim Ratcliffe said in the press report that he is not getting involved and he will leave it to the management team that he put in place at Old Trafford. Well, if that's true, then he probably won't get sacked if the other reports are true as well, because if we're going to go off by, what's reported, because we don't really have anything else to go off of as of right now, then we do know, Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth, they don't want to sack Erik Ten Hag. Now, I don't know. There was a good article. I forgot to read it, but somebody put out an article about who actually has what power and does it actually fall on Omar Barada, and I didn't read it, so I actually don't know the dynamic. I don't know, does Barada have the final say because he's the CEO? Is it a committee type of thing? So how does that actually work? But we do know that those two, based off of reporting, they don't want to sack him. So if Sir Jim really is going to leave it up to them, then it seems like he might probably not get sacked. X saying they had more shots on the opposite goal. Yeah. Ray says, what I don't understand, your game, football is about scoring. We can play for 3 hours, still will not score. Every player receiving the ball, the first pass goes backwards. Well, I think Ray, I think the reason for that is because today we played a lot more defensively. And this team seems to be very incapable for whatever reason. I don't know if it's, coaching. I don't know if it's the system. I don't know if it's the players. Maybe it's a combination of all three. But I think it's like I mentioned before, we set up a lot more defensively. And I think part of the game plan was to be a lot more, control the possession. Which means that, we seem to, when we control the possession in the manner that we do of the ball, the risk taking in the match, I don't think Erik Ten Hag wants them to be super risk taking. I think he wants them to be safe. I think that's something that they, drill into them in training and practice and talks, pre-match talks and stuff like that. I think that is an instruction. And I think that's why you see the players play in the way that they do, which I know is very frustrating because I agree with you, Ray. I think, my mentality is I want to see attack. I want to see directness. I want to see quickness. I want to see chances created. I want to see us pepper Aston Villa's goal. I want to see us, make them nervous, make them feel uncomfortable in the match. And I think you do that by playing quick and direct and attacking, and you try and create as many chances, putting the ball into the box, taking as many good shots as possible, being clever when you're in and around their final third, being tricky with it, not always just shooting, but maybe, the extra pass when it's there, when it's a good idea. But we don't see that, and I think I really do think it's part of the game plan, and it's part of the setup, is that, don't be too risky. Don't be too risky. If you get the opportunity, if there is space sometimes, then go ahead and go for it. But it's like the message is, don't force nothing, but don't take risks. I think that's really how we play. We don't take many risks. And I think that is a reflection of Erik Ten Hag and the manager, because I think Erik Ten Hag doesn't take many risks. And maybe that's why we see that. And maybe we just found an answer to, what's going on on the pitch for us. I think Erik Ten Hag is a man of, statistics and analytics and stuff like that. I don't think he leaves many things up to chance. I think he makes sure bets, right? I think Erik Ten Hag is the type of guy that, there's two types of people, or maybe there's three types of people, but, for sports betting, you get a guy that makes parlays, that does some crazy parlay that's like plus, 5,000 odds, and I'm using American odds because that's what I use. I don't use the decimals. But plus 5,000 odds, right? Or something crazy, and they put like, $500 on it. Then you got the other guy that takes maybe the minus 110, so it's like, just slight favorites, and they put maybe $100 on it. Then you got the other guy that's taking like, 4 bets, parlays that are like minus 300 each to get maybe a minus 145, and he puts like $10 on it. And to me, Erik Ten Hag seems like one of those people that, like, he won't be the guy to take the first option for sure, and not even the second option. He seems like he's the third option, where he's very conserved. It's like he never wants to take risks. He wants like calculated, sure bets. And I think that reflects into the pitch. I mean, again, somebody that I was listening to in the United community on one of the other channels made a good point, and he was like, the manager is the nucleus of the team. He is what the squad is on the pitch is a reflection of the manager. And when we see things that we don't like, that is a reflection of the manager. And I think Erik Ten Hag is not I don't think he's a risk taker. And I think that is a reflection on the team. And I think that's why you see us not play in the way that we probably would like and enjoy. We don't take risks. We don't take many risks. So Rich is saying, if she is older than me, she could be my mother. That was from before. I keep losing. I'm the most interesting 84-year-old out there. There's no way you're 84, Grace. You 84, Grace? If you are, good for you. Lion saying, so roller skates were apparently invented in Birmingham. Now that the whole leadership team up there, maybe they can find a pair for Ten Hag. Martinez played well. Goalkeeper. I thought it'd be funny for as long as I can get, because Lion saying, I wonder. Well, hold on. Richard saying, no, never mind. Axe is saying, yes, they need time to understand the execution of the system completely. Also, they need to build their physical, as the system is very demanding. I mean, I don't know how demanding it is, Axe. How demanding actually is it? Because I don't think we do much. I mean, I would like to, your statistics, man. Axe, you like that. If you want, you could look up for us. It doesn't have to be right now. Maybe you could look it up for the show that we do tomorrow. But I would actually like to know the statistics in terms of how much we run, and pretty much running statistics, because I don't think it's demanding in that way, because I don't think we do a lot of running. I don't think we do as much running as other teams. And maybe, all right, at times we press, so there is that. But, I don't know how demanding I would actually call it, because it doesn't seem very demanding to me the way we play. We play slow build-up. We play, we don't play quick. We don't play fast. So, I don't know how demanding it actually is on their body in that terms. But maybe physicality, since we are playing like possession, and you do have to hold the ball, and you do have to hold off players, maybe strength wise, maybe, yeah, in that way. Richard saying that he no longer believes we can win the league title with him or be successful. Well, winning the league title at this point, for sure, definitely not. Be successful in some manner. I mean, I don't know. I don't really see it from here, especially with the fact that we literally have our worst ever Premier League start ever in United's history ever. So Axe is saying, I know my father told me it wasn't bad, but they didn't manage to get hold of the game anyway. You said 3-0 for Villa. They almost won, so I am positive and willing to give Erik Ten Hag until the end of the season at this point. Well, I did say 3-0 Villa. I don't think we almost won. Um, maybe we could have won it with the Bruno thing, but I don't think we did enough to say that, we should have won. Um, we could have maybe won if we did a little bit better, but I don't really think we did enough to say that, we could have actually really won. I think we needed more attacking wise. But in terms of result and play, I mean, it's, that's why I'm here and I'm calm today, because it wasn't, we didn't get obliterated. We didn't get embarrassed. It was a draw. It was boring, but it was a draw. And I think, defensively, I think we were good. And I'm just disappointed with the attack. And that's about it. There's nothing really else you can say about that game. We're going to do player ratings in a couple seconds. Lion saying, I wonder if INEOS team is traveling back on the team bus. Absolutely not. There's no way. They might, but probably not. I mean, they make enough money. They could pay for their own private cars and stuff like that. And I'm sure they very well will do. But if they are on the team bus, that would, I don't think that would be appropriate, though. That would be very strange. That would be very strange. Erik Ten Hag, I think, need to go. The way you will never go, or you will never go nowhere, saying Ray. Richard saying, yeah, I was expecting a heavy defeat today. I think everybody was expecting a heavy defeat, mostly, for the most part. Obviously, some people, thought we might win, for whatever reason, but that's their belief, and other people thought, like Lyle, that, that Villa was going to be a little bit flat, and maybe we would be able to beat them, or at least get a draw out of it. So, Gray said at least they were sat in order of sexiness. Ray saying, I've been following United for 50 years, never seen a team that playing not to win, playing not to concede. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. I think that's a good way to put it as well, Ray. Like, we don't play, we set up today to not concede. And when you set up to not concede, you're not going to score many goals. You're not going to get many chances. And I don't think it's, I don't think it's something that any Manchester United fan really wants to see. It's not really what the club is about or has ever been about. And obviously, some of you are way older than me. I mean, Ray's 50 years. Richard is around the same as well, if not, longer. And it's, I know you guys definitely didn't see it, but I know just, searching back through the history and reading up and, looking at old videos and even, what I seen when I was growing up, because I am 30, so I grew up directly through, Sir Alex Ferguson's era. I've never seen a team play like that. That's not what I know United to be. And, you look at what we did at the time, and I was a young kid at the time, teenager or, younger age, and you start looking back at the history and you see what Sir Alex did, you see our history, you saw, how we played and things like that. And you look at what we got going on today, and it's just, it doesn't resemble anything like Manchester United. And so, as much as I wanted Erik Ten Hag to succeed, as much as I backed Erik Ten Hag, and, our regular viewers very much well know how much I backed Erik Ten Hag. I wanted him to stay after the FA Cup win. I thought, and I felt like that really, starting this season, we could start strong and we could really, improve. And it just seems like I was wrong for whatever reason. And there was a lot of people like that. And a lot of people were wrong, but it just, it hasn't been good enough. It's not good enough. It is literally the worst ever start to our Premier League season. And he capped his own worst start. I think our own worst start was last season under him, and he's topped it. And to me, that's crazy, because he has all the players available, barring his left backs. Those are the only two. And last season, we had injury crisis almost immediately and he's topped the worst start to a Premier League season in United's history ever. So in terms of standards, I think based on the circumstances, as much as I wanted him to succeed, as much as I wanted him to do good, I think he has to go. Unfortunately, I'm not going to sit here, maybe some other channels, if you're looking for it, ranting and raving at the camera, screaming Erik Ten Hag out to the ceiling of my house. I'm not going to do that. But I just think in the circumstances, he's got to go. I think, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You're not getting the results. You're not getting the performances. We're not seeing good displays. We're not seeing anything, to be proud of. We're not seeing anything really that encouraging. So I think based on the circumstances, I still think he's got to go. But I think INEOS are probably going to give him. I still think they're going to give him, the next couple matches at least. I think they might not sack him, and if they don't sack him, obviously it's still going to be based on results. I mean, if you go to Brentford and you don't win, and you go and you play Fenerbahce and you don't win, I think, he would probably definitely have to get sacked after those matches. If he doesn't get sacked after Brentford and he doesn't get a win at Fenerbahce, you're talking about 2 points in Europa League out of 3 matches. That's unacceptable. And we're in 14th, and if we don't win that match, if we draw or lose, we could be in 16th or lower or something like that. So you can't have that. We can't be having that. So we are going to do player ratings in about 2 minutes. Let me get through the rest of this chat. Axe is saying, before the rat gets to talk the big words, he should either get us to win more important trophies or invest over 1 billion. Otherwise, shut up and leave. And he's talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Well, I mean, how is he gonna get us to win more important trophies? He in this situation right now, with the way things are going with Erik Ten Hag, you can only do it one step at a time. I mean, he's taken over, and again, I try to be fair, and you don't have to support him, and you don't have to like him, and you don't want him in, but at the same time, he did inherit a clusterfuck from the Glazers. So let's see where it takes us, and not for nothing, but maybe he has invested some of his own money already. But at the same time, I kind of try to put myself in this position. I'm going to sink my money into a club that is owned by assholes that let everything rot and go to shit for commercialism, right? And they loaded the club with debt, and they're never going to pay the debt even when they decide to sell it. So if I want this club and I'm going to sink my money into it, I'm going to have to sink my money into it. I only have a small portion compared to their portion. They still own the majority. And if I ever want to take it over, I also have to pay off their debt. So, it's not always straight cut forward like that. But I hear you, Axe. I hear you. Rich is saying it still looks like 11 individuals rather than a team. I mean, yeah, it just, I still think, and I still go off this notion that we lack creativity, we lack freedom. It seems like we are, and again, I used this analogy before, but it seems like our players are like chained to a spot or a position on the field. Like they're not allowed to, do certain things, even if, things are always moving on the pitch and you have to make the call at that moment. But it really does seem like that a lot of the times they are very restricted. Like even if there is space in front of them, it's almost like they're not allowed to kick the ball forward. It's like they have to hold the ball and play it backwards and hold on to it and then build up slowly. Or otherwise they're going to get in trouble or something like that. And I don't really understand it. I don't get it. And then Erik Ten Hag doesn't help because he does come out sometimes and say, well, I wanted it moved quicker. I wanted it moved faster. Well, if that's what you want, why are we constantly playing this way? Why are we constantly playing in the way that we do? So, I don't really know. Richard also saying, I bet on the long shots, but I always ask my alien guides first. Maybe I should get Erik Ten Hag an alien guide. What is an alien guide? I don't know what that is. I'm not going to pretend like I do. Ray's saying if you don't let the players have some freedom, then the team will not work. And I think that goes perfectly into what I was just saying, Ray. And I think part of that, Ray, and I think we're making a breakthrough somewhere today. I think we are making a breakthrough today. I think, we talked about Erik Ten Hag doesn't seem like a man of risk. And I think it's obvious by his substitutions, by his lack of, wanting to adjust the system or the formations really in a lot of the matches. It's also why, maybe he takes so long to make substitutes, why he doesn't like to change many things. I think he's a very routine, actually, he's mentioned it before, but he's a very, people in life that they do the same thing every single day. They're in a routine. And if they stray from the routine, it's like, their life is over. It's a disaster. It's the sky is falling. It's unacceptable. They'll freak out. They'll lose their shit. They'll have a mental breakdown or something. It has to be the same thing. They go, they wake up at the same time. They do the same thing. They go to the same store to get the same cup of coffee. They talk to the same people. They take the same path. That's how I feel like Erik Ten Hag is. Like, he is, like, set in this routine. Like, it has to be the same style, the same setup. I think that's why he doesn't drop certain players, because it has to be those players. And if you stray from that plan, if you stray from that path, even the slightest bit, it's a big no-no. And I think it's hindering us in a very severe way. Like, for me, I don't see a balance with Erik Ten Hag. I think he's very statistic. I think he's very, like, analytics. And I think it's very, like, computerized from him. And I don't think there's enough of, like, from what he's seeing with his eyes. And I think it's a lot of data. And I don't like that, because data, you can twist and turn data in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of arguments, and there is a lot of data. You need to have a combination of both. So I think, we don't play freedom. Axe saying we almost won with Bruno and Anthony. I mean, Anthony is just like a lost cause, isn't he? I'm not trying to shit on him, but he's very, very limited. I thought he did all right when he came in, but it wasn't anything great. We need players to have more of an impact. I don't know what happened to Diallo. Was he even on the bench? Is he injured? But I guess he needed minutes. He had 30 minutes to do something. He had a shot. It was decent, but it was easy for Martinez. He was always going to save it and stuff like that. So, yeah. We should move Bruno to a deeper role. I agree. If you're going to keep Bruno, I would play... You see where Eriksen plays? I would play Bruno there. I would actually move Manu up to where I would move Manu to where Bruno plays, play Bruno where Eriksen is playing, and then play one of Ugarte or Casemiro instead of where Manu plays right now. Or you could try and play Bruno where Eriksen plays, play Mount if he's available, but obviously he's not, and then play Manu as well. Or something like that. But I actually agree. I think Bruno plays the deeper role a lot better. I think he's a lot better there, and I think he's actually a lot more effective. Ray's also agreeing that, with Richard, that we should play Bruno deeper. Grace is telling us, and she's told us before, that 3-5-2 is the way. Well, maybe. Axe is disagreeing with playing Bruno deeper. Richard is 67. Grace is saying only 67. That's young. You're like a baby. Ray is 62. So we got a lot of our senior Manchester United players, fans, community, supporters in here, which is always good. We always listen to the older generation. You got to take experience. You got to take wisdom. They've been through, they've been through many different periods. They've seen a lot of stuff compared to me and people younger than me. So you always got to listen to them. You always got to take something from them. I feel like if you don't take something from the older generation, I think you're really doing yourself a disservice. I think, anytime you get a chance to talk to people that are a lot older than you, I think you do yourself a disservice if you don't try and take something from them in any aspect, whether it's just life or directly with United. So this thing is always skipping. Lion saying, if we play a 3-5-2, who the fudge do we put up front? Well, that is a good point. I mean, you could always... I mean, you could do Rashford and Højlund. I mean, even though, I don't really like Rashford being up top. I mean, you could try Rashford and Højlund and Xerxes, but then we don't have a backup. So right now we wouldn't be able to do it. Obviously, we would have to go get another striker, right? If you're gonna play 2 striker, we need another striker. The reason why we only have, I would say, 1.5, because Xerxes plays not necessarily as a legit 9, is because we always play with 1 striker anyway. So, and I don't know if it would work, but. The Rats should pay for better players. Consider Neves, for example. Yeah, I don't know how that works though. With like the financial fair play and all that stuff. Axe is saying he's a billionaire. Why the heck did he make the Sheik dirty and invest? I mean, you on this, but I think we know what happened, Axe, and it is what it is. And Lions putting up another point. Maybe those players don't want to come to United. Maybe Neves didn't want to come with us, and that's why he went to PSG. Maybe he just didn't want to come with us. Bruno Fernandes knows him. He has a good relationship with Bruno, and Joao also knows, Ronaldo. And maybe they told him, listen, as much as we love the club, it's not necessarily a good environment for you to develop. You're still very young. Go somewhere else that's a little bit safer and a little bit more sure for you. And then, if Manchester United ever get to a better spot, you could always go there if you want. So, there's football is talk and stuff like that too. So there's a lot of different things going on. Alien Red Devils is in here. Good to hear from you. First time chatter in here. Saying Rashi, after getting subbed, he's gone mad. Today actually is Lewis Carroll Day. Mad Erik Tea Party. Alliance saying Diallo has been a ghost in the last few games, so I get why Anthony getting a chance. Yeah, he has been a little bit disappointing in my opinion, and I do get Anthony coming on, but I don't think Anthony offered much more. People are voting in the poll. If you haven't voted in the poll, vote in the poll, and please smash the like button for me because it helps the channel grow. So smash the like button. We got about 8 likes. We could get those numbers up. A couple of you didn't smash the like button, so hit it for me, please, and thank you. But the poll, 23 votes, and I asked, will Ten Hag get sacked after today's result? And 70% of people believe that he will get sacked. So very interesting, very interesting. I think it's very 50-50 for me. But yeah. So Richard saying data is only figures and you can make figures say anything. Yeah, that's why it has to be a combination. You really have to have a combination. Erik Ten Hag had 6 players that he bought on the bench at the start of the game, Bray said. Yeah, he did. He did. Which is not very good. That's not a good look either because, maybe they need a little bit more time to get in there. I mean, Lisandro was certainly one of them, so he doesn't need time. This is his 3rd season, so he can't be one of those players. But I mean, let me just because I never looked at the bench, so let me actually just go look at the bench. So, we had Lindelof was there, Anthony was there, Xerxes was there, Casemiro was there. Binder, Martinez, Ugarte, and Diallo. He bought Ugarte, he bought Martinez, I mean, you could count Binder, but whatever, not really. He got in Cass, he got in Xerxes, he got in Anthony, and he got in Delit. So yeah, he did. And I mean, Delit hasn't been playing good, and neither was Martinez. So both of them, um, it's very bad. Xerxes been very lackluster, but again, it's his first season, and he's a young guy. So, he was always, it was never gonna be him hitting the ground running, and he still has to develop a lot more. Ugarte not even getting minutes. What is that? The second match in a row. Don't really understand it. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting on that. Alien Red Devils in here telling me, "Hi, I'm a 60-year-old United fan. Been a season ticket holder since 1980. This is dire football." Well, as a season ticket holder, big respect to you, and I'm sorry you have to go and watch that every week, if you do go every week or every match day. It is dire football. I definitely agree with you for sure. And I dislike it very, very much. So I would like to actually, Alien, I would actually like to know what you really think about the whole current situation. Like, what do you think about Ten Hag necessarily? What do you think more about the style of play? And do you think that he's gonna get sacked, or do you think they're gonna give him the next couple matches and pending results? Lyle, it's all right. Don't worry about it. But good to hear from you, Alien. It's good to have you in here. I'm glad that you're in here. We got a new person in here and chatting too, so that's good. Lyle's saying we going to have a collab between Alien, Red Devils, and Richard Hawkins Legends. Well, when I do set up the call-in sector, right? Which hopefully will be soon. I would love if we could actually get Richard and whoever else wants, but I would love to get Richard on the phone so we could hear him speak and actually give, his opinion in voice, and thoughts in voice, and anybody else, of course. But yeah, we could certainly get a couple people on the line at the same time and kind of have a collab going, a live collab going. So I definitely want to do that because I'd rather. Call me a little bit old school for my age, but I actually like face-to-face conversations, like people like girlfriends, whatever, or even friends in general. I'm not too fond of texting. I do text, obviously, but I'm more traditional in the sense of I'd rather call somebody and have like a voice-to-voice conversation because you could hear their manner, their tone, expression. So I enjoy that more personally. I've always been like that, always will. But yeah, so we're gonna get that set up for sure because I want it to be part of the show. I think it's gonna be good for the show. I think it's gonna be important for the channel. So, and it just gives you guys a little bit more freedom, so you don't have to keep typing in the chat. You could actually just talk, and we could have real discussions. Alien telling me that he's never seen United so lost and rudderless in all my days, and I mean, INEOS have to sack him, and I mean, you, Ray, and Richard, and Grace, which we don't know if she's actually 80. I forgot the exact number, but I mean, all of you that are much older than me, not to make you feel bad, but just stating the fact. But yeah, I mean, all of you have said the same thing. All of you have said it. And I only cut 30 years into that. So, and then you got to give me at least 5 years because I was a baby. So how much of United I'm going to remember, in the early days. But all of you say the same thing. And that it actually makes me sad. It makes me sad for you guys to get to get to this point in life and to see all of what have United have done throughout all those years, and then and now we're at this point where it's like it's just boring and it's bad and it's ugly and it's depressing, and it is, and I feel bad. I feel bad for you guys because I think about it and I'm like, what's United going to be like, God willing, if I'm still here, knock on wood. But, what is United going to be like for me in 30 years, in 20 years? And I hope we're in a way, way better position. I hope we're back to, where we used to be in that time. But, I think about that all the time and I'm like, I hope we are, because I don't want my children, when I do have children, and if I have children, like, I want them to be proud and happy and watch United and enjoy watching United, and kind of like how I grew up. I don't want them to see this. I don't want them to be part of this. Really, I don't want them to be bantered every week and made fun of every week, and get shit on by other teams' fans and stuff like that. But we're just in such a bad position, and we've been in it for a while. And I just want to find the light at the end of the tunnel. And I don't see it right now. It's just still darkness, unfortunately. So, Aliens saying Erik Ten Hag never takes blame for his mistakes. Give it to Rude now. I mean, yeah. I mean, there has been once or twice where he does, kind of say that, it is on him. But I get what you mean, Alien. I get what you mean. Like, he should be out there accepting more responsibility. He should. You know where he doesn't accept responsibility? The system. He refuses to accept that the system isn't working, or it's not good, or maybe he has to tweak some things. And I think he thinks that the system is perfect, but the players just need more time for it to work, or the players aren't doing certain things that he needs them to do, and that's why it's failing. So it's more like he puts more blames on the players than his own system, where I think he needs to accept the responsibility, and I think he needs to wake up and accept reality that the system isn't good. It's not working. It hasn't been working. Lion saying, I thought Erik Ten Hag just never made mistakes. I think that's sarcastic, but that's why we need the phone in, the call in, which we will get. I promise you, we will get that soon, very, very soon. Axe is saying in 30 years we will be in the championship. I hope not, because I will cry. But going like this, but then at the same time says, yes, we can turn this around. And Alien saying Sir Jim was honorable in not sacking Erik Ten Hag after winning the FA Cup. He gave him another chance and it's not worked, and that's how the dice rolls. And I really agree with Alien Red Devils there. I think that's a very, very good comment. I think that's a very good level-headed space to be in. I do. I think it is the roll of the dice. And that's kind of where I was. And that's why I supported Ten Hag, because I think the very least you could give him a shot. You win the FA Cup, 2 trophies in 2 seasons. All right, the season wasn't great in terms of league position and Europe, right? But I think you give him a shot. You give him a shot to do it. But at the end of the day, for me, I'm very merit based. It's about if you do a good job and if you're getting results. And if you're not doing a good job and you're not getting results, then that's the way, like Alien said, the dice rolls. And you gotta go. You gotta go at the end of the day. If you're not getting the job done, you gotta go. Just like any other aspect in any other job in life. If you're not getting the job done, you deserve to lose your job at the end of the day, unfortunately. And Alien just subbed to the channel, so thank you very much, Alien. I greatly appreciate it. If you didn't already, and you could hit the like button, because that helps the channel grow as well, and it helps us get seen more. And have the notifications on, because we're always going live. Tomorrow we'll be live again. We've been going live a lot more lately, so we've been more active in that sense. So thank you very much, Alien. I greatly appreciate it. And we welcome you to the community. And I'm happy that we got another member in here that's going to be active in the chat. And so far you've given very good opinions, very good statements and stuff like that. So yeah, we're glad to have you here. We're glad to have you here for sure. Ray saying, I don't want to change another manager, but I don't see it, feel it, or believe it that we're going anywhere. And I feel like that too, in a certain aspect, Ray. Like, that's kind of one of the things that I didn't. That's why I backed Ten Hag. That's why I wanted him to to get this season, because I didn't really want to change another manager. It always falls apart the third season. I'm tired of seeing it. You know, I'm tired of the same thing repeating itself. When is it going to change? But at the same time, like you mentioned, Ray, you know, I don't see it and I don't feel it and I don't believe it anymore. I believed it at the end of last season. I had, and maybe this is my mind, expectations versus reality, but my expectations were, you know, make sure the players are fit. You have a good preseason. You come in, you start strong. You really have to make a push. We really have to improve. I felt like, you know, they were gonna get down to the nitty gritty and figure out a lot of the problems, and we were just gonna see a real improved start in the season, and it's been the total opposite of that, and that's a real disappointment for me. You know what I mean? It's a real disappointment because I really did think that he would have been able to manage to do that, and he hasn't. So it does hurt because I wanted him to succeed. I wanted him to do good. I wanted United to do good, obviously, because it's the club. So if the manager does good and the team does good, obviously the club is doing good. But you know, it's sad. It's sad. But at the end of the day, we have to face reality and we have to face the facts. And the reality and the facts of it is that, you know, we're in a very bad position, but we aren't getting the results and we're not playing well. So, and this is a performance-based game at the end of the day. So, Axe is saying, look, let's let him for at least 3 seasons. We have already won 2 trophies with him. Had we had another manager who won nothing and finished twice, you would have want him sacked too. Maybe. But I backed him. I backed him. You know what I mean? I backed him, Max. If we finish twice, second, twice, I don't know if I would be asking necessarily for him to be sacked. It would also depend on how we're playing under that manager. If we were playing in a manner where we looked dangerous, where we looked like, you know, we could win matches, and we had some unfortunate results, I don't think I would be saying that, you know, he's got to go. Now, obviously, it would also depend on the position. And maybe if we were in a similar position, maybe I would be asking to get sacked. You know, it's all circumstantial. It's nothing against Erik Ten Hag personally. It's just the merit of performances. Alien lives on Nibiru, the red planet. Yeah. Welcome to the Motley Crew. That's also another thing we got going on here. Alien saying this is United's worst start in Prem history. Last season was our worst start. Common denominator, Erik Ten Hag. I mean, both of them are under him. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you look at a lot of things and aspects in that manner, it's not a good look for him. You can't spin that into any positive. That's just very negative. It's totally negative, and it's something you don't want to have on your name or your CV or be attached to in any manner. So, you know, there's no spinning that. It is our worst ever Prem start in the history of the club, which is literally awful. Like, and because I'm a fan of the club, right? And, you know, if I was the manager and my name was attached to Manchester United having the worst start in the Premier League history, I would die of embarrassment. I would literally die of embarrassment. I would go home and I would curl up into a ball and I would probably resign and I would cry. Because it just means that much to me. And the fact that I've managed to put the club in that position, I would literally die of embarrassment. I wouldn't be able to handle it. So, you know. We are also blessed with getting a cooking show soon on the channel. That's right. Apparently we're doing a cooking show. I'm gonna get a nice tall hat. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Axe is gonna choose to back him this season. It's fine, Axe. You can choose to back him. I think, you know, I was still backing him up to a certain point. I've lost faith, honestly, because I just don't see how it can improve to the point that we need to improve. Now, it could very well be, and you could be right, Axe, and you You could choose the path that you're going down, and your path could be the correct path. And I could be wrong for just saying that, I don't think anything is going to come out of it. Obviously we have to wait and see. But Alien also mentioning that Sancho, Greenwood, Fred, McTominay, Van de Beek, Alvaro Fernandez, Kwambala, etc., all playing well now that they have left United. I wonder why. Well, I think there's a couple factors to that, Alien. Number one, I think, the clubs obviously that they went to go play for, barring Sancho because he's at Chelsea, so that's really the only one that you could kind of say is like a big club. If you want to call Chelsea a big club, I know some people call Chelsea a small club, but it is what it is. I'm talking in terms of, Premier League and competing and stuff, and Chelsea are playing pretty good right now. The other clubs are obviously smaller compared to United. They have less of a microscope on them, so the pressure is less, but it can also do with the manager and the coaching and the style of play and all that stuff. So yeah, it is a good point, and it is, again, something that is not very much of a good look. Why we got rid of Alvaro Fernandez, I never know. When we, don't have left backs and they refuse to call up Harry Amos, I don't understand it. But I don't know. I don't really understand it. I don't get it. I don't. And obviously, some of the leagues are not as tough as the Premier League. So, some of those players, many of them have gone outside of the Premier League. So there are different factors into that. But I get what you're saying, Alien. I get the sentiment of what you're trying to say, and it does make sense as well. And again, it's not a good look to add to everything else. That's not a good look. So. And Axe says he understands, but it usually takes a manager 3 years to build a team, starting from zero. I mean, and I get what you're trying to say, Axe, and I do. I think I don't think I don't think you're delusional. I don't think you're like I don't think you're saying nonsense. I don't think you're like, I get the point you're trying to make, but there's for every point that you make, there's also an argument against it. And it's not just an argument for argument's sake. It's a valid argument against it. So it just, in terms of optics, for everything that you can say in that manner, there is a valid argument on the other side, which is, for Erik Ten Hag's situation, it's not good because there is proof on the other side as well. Now, I do agree that, it does take, managers, they do need time. And a lot of projects, you do see that it takes about 3 seasons or so, if not a little bit more, based on certain circumstances, to really, nail down. But my problem is his first season was the best season. The second season, we took a hit, and while injuries had a part to play, we still took a hit. And this third season has so far been the worst out of the 3. And we have players fit, and it seems like we're going backwards, Axe. It seems like we have gone completely and utterly backwards. This is worse. We are currently in a worse position, and playing worse than when Solskjaer got sacked and then Ranić came in. I mean, if we continue down the path we're going, based off of the results we've gotten so far in the matches we played, it will be our worst finish. And that season to me was one of the worst seasons I've ever witnessed. I mean, players downing tools, players just completely disrespecting the interim, not listening to him. So, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to me. Lyle saying last season there was a lot of factors that messed up our season. Erik Ten Hag needed to have a structure above him, and we all thought that might help him. Sadly, it's all going against him. And I think, with the structure point, Lyle, we did all think that, and I think, we do have it now, but still, it's on that aspect, it's still going to take a little bit more time. They are still new. I think, even Sir Jim mentioned it last time that, our CEO and Dan Ashworth, they came in July. So they've only been really actually working in actual position for only a couple months. So on that aspect, it's still going to take some time there. And I always said this, and I've been saying this, and I said we were in a very weird predicament that we usually aren't in, because Erik Ten Hag is his third season. The structure is in its first season. It's in its first, it's in its baby form right now. It just got created. It just got made. It just started changing things. It just started implementing what they believe. So that aspect, that dynamic is very strange, because it's not usual. Usually if new people take over, they hire a new manager and they go in that direction. But Erik Ten Hag has been here for now his third season, which it imbalances the outlook, especially from the media and the fans, because they look at him and they're like, you're in your third season. We're not seeing certain shit. Why is there, a lot of people say there's no identity. There's no style of play. There's no system, which I think there is a system and there's a style of play. I just think it doesn't work well and it's not very good. But they say all these things and they're like, you're in your third season. You should at least have some of these things. While it may not be perfect, it should be still better than what it is. And it's not. And it's not. Meanwhile, the board and the hierarchy are new. So it's like everybody's giving them leeway and a pass because they're new and they just got in. But Erik Ten Hag doesn't get that pass because he's in his third season. And I think it creates a lot of friction on the club and within the fan base. It's very divisional. Divisionism? I don't know. I was going for a word there. I don't even know if those are words. Ray say we get players in and make scrap goats out of them. Well, I tell you what, before I created this channel and in the early days, because, I do watch other channels. I don't watch as much as I used to. Before I used to be really into, I used to watch everybody. Now I try to kind of stay away because I don't want to echo them pretty much. Not that I don't want to hear their opinions, but I just don't want, I want to give my actual opinions on my show. But in the early days, and while, some of you may not be fans or whatever it is, and it is what it is, that's fine. But in the earlier days of the United stand, Mark used to have, a guy on there, moderator, whatever he was. I think his name was Paul. And this guy, Paul, one time said, and that this statement stuck in my head ever since, because when he said it, it was true, and it worried me. And I just, for whatever reason, it always stuck in my head, and I always just keep a lookout for it. But he did say, when we signed Bruno Fernandes, he said, how long is it going to take for Bruno Fernandes to get sucked into the shit of Manchester United? Because Bruno was playing very good. He was very influential. He was making a big impact straight away as soon as he came in, and he quickly became our most important and best player. And I thought it was a very interesting point, because I was like, Bruno is at that time was the only light in the team. He was the only one, and he just came in and he was fresh. So he wasn't affected by, all the shit at United. And surely enough, you fast forward to now, and it seems like he's very much in the shit. He's been dragged down into it, and you can say that for a lot of players. It's not just him. You can say that for a lot of players, and a lot of players that we get in. Maybe they play good for a little bit, but then they always get dragged into, and their performances suffer, and they always play bad. You could even argue right now, even for Garnacho. When he broke into the team, he was bright, he was electric, he was, and not that he isn't those things, but he was having big impacts. Now he's having less of an impact in terms of scoring and creating. And his performances are suffering as well. So there is a problem there. I don't know per se what it actually is. Is it solely the manager? Is it the club? Because I think these things were happening prior to Erik Ten Hag as well. Maybe under certain different circumstances, but there is definitely a problem somewhere within the club, as well as maybe, with the manager as well. The system is to fail the new players, Ray says. Aliens is saying United spent 114 million on strikers. Hoyland, Xerxes, Meanwhile, Kane is breaking records for fun at Bayern. I mean, yeah, it's another good point. And at the time they said he was too expensive, but meanwhile we ended up going and spending you know, we ended up going and spending ridiculous amounts of money on ridiculous players. I mean, they spent 80 million on fucking Anthony. Um, and you couldn't get Kane, so again, bad decisions, poor decisions have led us also down this path as well. I mean, there's so many different factors as to why we're here. And the situation we're in. An alien saying, why did we sell Alvaro a left back when we didn't even have a fit one is crazy. Well, the thing is, if you're going to sell Alvaro, at least call up Harry Amos. He is a left back, and we don't have one. So, for me, it doesn't make sense. And it does irritate me because we didn't learn from last season. You know what I mean? We bring in Reguilon because, just in case. And thank God we had him, at least for that period, right? But then, they were like, oh, Shaw and Malacia coming back. They'll be good, and they'll be good for the rest of the season. So they decided to end Reguilon's loan in the middle of the season, which didn't make sense to me, and I thought it was a fucking mistake. And it clearly was, because they both ended up getting injured long term. They never came back for the rest of the season, and we played the rest of the season without a left back when we could have had Reguilon, and we could have at least used him. And we didn't learn from last season, and we've made the same mistake again. We're 6 matches, 7 matches into the Premier League, and our either one of our left backs haven't played a single match yet, at all. And we have a kid who they continue to keep playing in the under 21s when we don't have a left back, and they won't even call him back. So I don't understand that aspect. I don't get it. I don't get why. Lyle's updating us, telling us Brighton are beating Tottenham 3-2 in the 76th minute, which is absolutely crazy. And it just shows you, I mean, we lost to Brighton at the end, but we got obliterated by Tottenham, and it just shows you how actual shit that display was that we put out against Tottenham at Old Trafford. I mean, just makes it look worse for us, but good for Brighton, and hopefully they beat Tottenham. Brighton go 2-0 down against Spurs, now winning 3-2. That's the spirit. New manager. I mean, yeah, and we don't see that. We don't see that. We didn't see that from us. Lion says FFP has ruined football. Alien. Welbeck scored. I mean, still scoring goals. I mean, we could fucking use him now. Jesus. Danny has been playing well for them. He has. Again, makes us look bad. We got rid of him, and he's gone on to make a career for himself at Brighton, who I respect a lot for the business and the way they operate and the football that they play as well. Axe is saying, yes, you are right. It is going very bad now, but I'm willing to give him time. He made things correctly in the first season. Now he has almost everything he wants in terms of players. Let me be. No, you're allowed. You're allowed to have. You're allowed to have that. I just challenge it a little bit to give the other side. You know what I mean? But yeah, I want you to hold that opinion, Axe, if that's what you want. You know what I mean? I want you to have that opinion. I don't want everybody to have the same opinion in here anyway. That would be very boring and very weird, and very uninteresting. You know what I mean? So you're allowed to, absolutely. And if that's what you believe, then good for you, and crack on. And we'll see. Maybe you are right in the end. Maybe things do improve. Maybe he sticks around. Maybe he keeps his job. I'm just the opposite of you, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what we need, actually. Let him time to prove himself. Well, we'll see, because I don't know how much time he's going to get. I think he's running out of time. I think in a lot of people's eyes, he's already run out of time. But he's currently still the manager, so there's more channels about United. Shut the front door. I thought this was the only one. Well, if we were the only one, we'd be a lot better off because we'd have all the viewers. But yeah, it's a very It's a very hard place to break into, actually, but we do a good job, I think. Um, Alien saying I watch a lot of youth games as well. So that's good because I actually don't watch youth games. I just can't bring myself to do it. And I know a lot of people they find it important and they do watch it. So I always like that too. If people watch the youth games as well because they could keep me updated. I keep my eye on it. But I don't really watch them. I don't really, that it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time to be so involved, and I respect everybody that does it. For sure. But he says I watch a lot of youth games as well. United has much talent coming through. It's unreal. Lacey, Scallion, Gore, Wheatley, Fletcher, etc. And I'm well aware of all of them and how much they are highly talked about, their talent and what they are doing in the youth setup and how they are performing in that aspect. I just don't actually watch 90 minutes of it. Axe says that he believes that there is a psychological problem at the club related to self-efficacy. In order to cope with the pressure, players invest in themselves with confidence. The results turn out. And I think that's a very good point. And I do agree with you there. I think there is something wrong with, the ethos, the identity, the manner, whatever it is, psychological, whatever you want to call it. There's something, wrong in that aspect for sure. The pressure, the players, we can't handle it. We can't handle it. Both Fletcher boys look like good products. Well, I'm happy that they're home and not at Plastic Academy over there, because they were over there. So I'm happy that we bring them home because they belong at Manchester United. They do. So I'm happy that they're here. And I'm happy that they've continued to develop and grow so far. And I hope to see them both in the first team playing for Manchester United. And being important players and good players. So yeah, don't worry about it, X. Football is about opinions, absolutely. Ray saying I love Bruno as a player, but your game set up on him. Been playing like shit, and as the team keep waiting, don't change same shit. So I think Ray's saying like he likes Bruno as the player, but Bruno's been playing bad, and our setup is like revolved around Bruno. And if you set up and revolved around Bruno, and Bruno's playing bad, then and you're gonna keep waiting for Bruno to come good, and you don't change anything, it's leading to the poor results. Playing for Man United is not only an honor, but a burden. Only certain players can handle this experience. And yeah, absolutely. That's why I think, I did mention it about how, while other players are leaving and they are playing good, it's a totally different animal, and there's so many different factors. It might have, the manager might have a part into play. It might be the system as well, but also just the club as a whole. It's a totally different entity. You know what I mean? It's a totally different beast, and you have to really be a special kind of person and a special kind of player to really play at Manchester United, but also to succeed at Manchester United. Even for how bad we've been over the past 11 years, the club is just so massive that it's not made for everybody. It's not made for everybody, and I think we've seen a lot of examples of that over the past couple of years. There's a lot of players that come here, they crash and burn almost immediately. They fall off like real quick. A lot of the players, maybe it takes them longer because they do have it, but we are also in a bad position, so it is draining, and you do drag it down. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna step away from the chat real quick. I'm just gonna go into social media to pick up a couple things. So statistics. Manchester United have failed to score in their last 3 games in the Premier League, a run of 308 minutes without a goal, which, again, not a good look, and not a good statistic. Manchester United's last 5 games, we have drawn to Palace, just to remind you, even though, you'll probably rather not want me to remind you, but we drew to Palace away, we drew to Twente home, we lost to Tottenham at home, 3-0. We tied to Porto 3-3 away, and we tied to Villa 0-0. So, those 5 matches that's in my opinion unacceptable results for Manchester United and as Manchester United manager. So Yeah, and I'll read a couple maybe comments from social media of some respected people. These aren't random people. These are well-known people. Um, so Phil Brown, who some of you may know, he's respected by the Muppeteers and a couple other people out there. I respect him. He said United definitely have an identity under Ten Hag, which I agree. They are now a team who rarely win or who rarely score. Okay, well, if you have more patience to give, then you're a saint. So, Axe, you're a saint. Personally, I'm completely spent with toggling between anger, despair, and complete boredom. And I'm a little bit more on Phil's camp there. Um, Johnny Evans has a couple comments as well. Johnny Evans said we wanted to make sure we didn't concede. I think that was pretty obvious, Johnny. We almost won it at the end. They have good players, so you're never comfortable. You always have to be on your toes. We did well. I think we did well defensively, Johnny. I don't think we did well attacking wise. Paul Scholes on Johnny Evans being awarded man of the match, and I would give Johnny Evans man of the match, by the way. He's 36. He just came to train with Man United, and then he's their best defender. That tells you something isn't quite right. And I agree with Scholes there as well. As much as big respect to Johnny Evans, he's been great. A lot better than I thought he was going to be when, they announced that we were going to sign him. And he's been really solid, and he plays very, very well, and he gives his all. And again, he is the only legacy player left from that era. And he plays like he gets it, like he gets the club. He understands it. He plays like that on the pitch. It translates. And big respect to Johnny Evans. But I think Scholes is right as well. At the same time, he's 36. And he's our best defender, and I think he has been consistently over a period of time, when he does get the opportunity to play, because I don't think he can play every match, and I don't think he can give 90 minutes always. So that's why we don't see him. But I think if he was younger, Johnny Evans would be starting every match, because I think he has been our best defender. And a 36-year-old that was about to retire, that came just to train with Manchester United and was going to go somewhere else, if not retire, and ends up being our best defender, does tell you that something isn't quite right. And I think it's clear and obvious that there are numerous amounts of problems at Manchester United. And Johnny also saying it's still a privilege to play for this club. The pressures that come with it, it's part of it. You see the fans at the end, they support, they give to the team. They have supported the players massively over the years, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Johnny gets it. Johnny is one of the only people, if not the only person, that actually gets it. He actually gets it. And because he actually gets it, you see it translate onto the pitch. These other players, they don't. Maybe some of them kind of get it, and some of them don't get it at all. But you do see it. I think Maguire kind of gets it now. I think Maguire didn't get it in the beginning, but I think Maguire actually really gets it now. And I don't know, what was the breakthrough for him? Was it losing his captaincy? Was it, experiences with people like Johnny Evans and others and stuff like that? But I think Maguire does get it as well. Evans said, Erik Ten Hag told me after the game the other night, I'd played this one. Even the match against Porto, I wasn't expecting to come on. It's unlikely to have a double center-back substitution. Every match I play now, I just enjoy it. Yeah, so, I mean, he kind of threw Erik Ten Hag under the bus a little bit there by saying, he told him after the game, after the Porto game. So it was probably directly after the game, because Martinez and De Ligt was so bad. And, Ten Hag did say it was for rotation, but obviously, like, it was planned. It was planned. He also said the other night, after conceding 3 goals, we wanted to be more defensive and then try to find the gap on a move, maybe on the counter, and it didn't go far in the end. And yeah, I mean, I think it kind of plays into what I said. And what I said was that, when we do defend better and more structured, we we are better in that aspect, but then we try to play this counter attack, and this is why I argued, some of you were asking, why doesn't he play us in counter attack, which is what some of you think the team is best set up for. And I was like, I don't think, if he plays counter attack, I don't think that it would work well. And it doesn't seem to work well because we don't create a lot and we don't look like we're ever going to win the match. So, and just to put it into a shittier perspective, I guess, our wins this season are Fulham, Southampton, and Barnsley. I mean, that just makes me want to jump into a pool with all my clothes on or something. I don't know. Your comments are fine, Axe. Don't worry about it. We love your comments. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Johnny Evans was asked after the game, even considering the position Manchester United are in, do you still enjoy playing for them? He says it's a privilege to play for this club and always has been. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he gets it and he loves his club, and he literally gives his life and his body. I mean, there was a couple moments in that match where I thought he was done and he was injured and I thought he was going to have to come off. He's one of the only players. He puts his body on the line at 36 years old when he shouldn't be doing it because he's old and he could get seriously injured and he could get impacted for the rest of his life. He's still very young in terms of the concept of age of life. And he's one of the only ones. So, big up to Johnny Evans. We're going to skip the player ratings today. I'm not going to do them because, the show's gone on long. It's late in the show. I don't really know what to score half of the team, really. I'm just going to score them as a team. And as a team, I give them a 5. I think defensively they were good. I think positioning wise and staying compact and stuff like that, I think they were good, but the attacking aspect of our team was very, very poor. And I'm actually going to give Johnny Evans a high score. I'm going to give Johnny Evans a 7 today, and I'm going to give Johnny Evans man of the match because I think it was a match. I think he was man of the match for sure. I think he was our best player. I think he showed it, and I think he deserves it. So on that aspect, and then we'll just do a couple more comments, and maybe some statistics, whatever pops up on the feed right now. Ray's saying if we don't score, we don't win. That's the problem for the last 2 years, and we buy 2 young strikers. Well, we had that problem before as well. We used to do periods where we'd score a lot of goals, then all of a sudden we couldn't score. So, the goal scoring thing has kind of been a problem for a numerous amount of years as well. Evans shouldn't have been sold in the first place. Same counts for Welbeck being sold to Arsenal. I mean, you could kind of make the argument for Smalling as well. There was a lot of things that we did that was very, very wrong. And obviously that was under the old regime and they had no clue what they were doing. But Ray's saying Johnny Evans is the best move for Erik Ten Hag. Yeah, I mean, Johnny Evans might be Erik Ten Hag's best signing. And that is really, there's a lot to unpack there. And it was a free. So, there's, while that might sound good, it's more definitely, I guess what you would call it, a dig. And then, yeah, Mainu came from the youth, he bring him up, and Garnacho did. But I think in terms of actually signing somebody, like signing somebody and not from our youth academy or whatever, yeah, I think Johnny Evans probably, there's an argument definitely for sure to say that he might be his best signing. Let them get better defensively and from there build the attacking side. Well, let's see. Let's see if they could do it. I don't believe they can, but let's see, Axe. Let's see. So Laurie Whitwell is saying the draw against Aston Villa should ease some of the pressure on Erik Ten Hag. So if you want Erik Ten Hag to go, that's probably not good news for you. It was my indication and my belief that was probably what was going to happen. I did say it before the match. I said it twice at least before we played this match. And that's kind of how I felt after the match as well. Les Ferdinand saying United are not improving, it's not enough. And I think that's a fairly, obvious statement to make. Maz looked good, but I think he got subbed off for the injury. I don't think he got subbed off for performance wise. The attack disjointed. Um, I think Alma could have got some minutes, especially the way Garnacho was kind of a little lackluster today. I think he still could have put on Diallo. We were better off the ball, but we set up not to lose the game, which is boring, and not to necessarily win, which involves the risk taking that I mentioned before. I think Mano did a good job, but he did struggle at times. But considering he's playing with a knock and he was almost by himself at times defensively, you know, Bruno, I don't think had a very good game again, which is concerning that our captain and what you would say is arguably, at one point one of our more important and one of our more better players, was like that. Villa were poor from their aspect as well. And Maguire did well as well, which he deserves his credit as well. And an unfortunate, and I hope he's not out for too long because I do feel bad for the guy now. So, but yeah, Laurie Whitwell reporting that. So, and many people are still majority Erik Ten Hag out. They want him out. They're not buying into it. They don't care about the draw today. Obviously, there's a different aspect from that from INEOS' side, but the fans are majority still Erik Ten Hag out from polls that I'm seeing on the internet. So, statistics here: Manchester United's 24-25. We've played 7 matches. We have 2 wins. We've conceded 9 goals. We scored 5. We have 0 goals in the last 300 minutes played. We're 14th in the table. Only Southampton have scored less. So, it's just very, very bad. Very, very bad. And not very, very good. And in any aspect. I mean, everywhere you look, there's just overwhelming negative statistics, results, talk. Yeah. So, obviously the players are talking it up. Johnny Evans saying we got a point against the good side away from home. So, if you're trying to take positives, I guess you could take the positive there, but I don't think many people are buying or biting into that. But I'm not going to go in on Johnny for saying that. He has to say what he's got to say. Sir Alex, I mean, in the last minutes of the game, Sir Alex even looked bored and disappointed. He looked dejected as well. I don't think he's enjoying it very much as well. You know what I love about Sir Alex? There was a shot of him, where he had his hand on his face, and he's still wearing the wedding band. He's still wearing the wedding ring, which I thought was just nice. I thought it was nice. It gave me some good feelings, for his late wife. But yeah. What else do we have? Anything else? With 8 points this season, Manchester United's lowest tally in their opening 7 matches of the league since 1989 to 1990. So, yeah, again, just very bad. People saying don't know what I watched. That was an attempt to avoid embarrassment, if nothing much else. At a point, but absolutely nothing to build on, and 14th place going into the break. I mean, yeah, it's just not a good spot to be in. Not a good spot to be in at all. Anything else that we got? With 8 points, which is 2 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. This is United's lowest tallying in their opening 7 matches of a league since 1989-1990, when they went on to finish 13th under Sir Alex Ferguson. So, some people are going to link that and say, well, look what happened with Ferguson, and give him more time, because he finished 13th. And then we all know the history of what happened after, but I don't know. I would have to ask one of you guys, Richard, Ray, Alien, when we did finish 13th under Sir Alex Ferguson, because I wasn't born yet, actually. How, if you guys can remember, how was the football though? Like, was there something that gave you encouragement, even though, people were asking for the sack because of the position and the results? But was there something in the football that we were playing? Was it like, were we actually playing like attacking? Were we actually playing like, it looked like, we were creating, we just weren't like getting the job done, but there was something to actually kind of maybe latch on to. There was something actually to encourage. And I understand it's a different era and a different system, but like I just want to know like the circumstances, like not, obviously we weren't getting the results and stuff, right? But like was there something that you guys saw under Fergie that like you were like there is something there that we can kind of buy into, and maybe he just needs a little bit more time to kind of turn things around? Because I think if the contrast to it is right now many people don't see anything in any aspect that we have. I don't think they see anything in the way we play to encourage them to be like, well, if you just give them a little bit more time, maybe it'll come good, you know, later on in the season or the season after. So um let's get it. CR7 boy is in here saying not big deal. Ericsson is the best signing. See, it was under Sir Alex Ferguson. You would have sacked Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, yeah, but I think like Richard said also, different era, different system. And that's why I'm kind of trying to ask them, like, because I wasn't alive, so I can't say. I didn't watch it. I didn't know what happened, but I'm trying to say, like, I understand. Okay, the position, the league position was bad, and things obviously weren't good at that time for Ferguson. But in terms of like, what you were seeing from the players and on the pitch, was there something that maybe you weren't Sir Alex Ferguson out at the time and you were like, no, like he needed time? Because I'm just trying to make the comparison, because I think, in my opinion, if we were playing attacking football but we were losing matches, if we were playing in a manner that you can consider encouraging, but we just weren't getting the results, I think there was something to latch onto there. I think here we're not seeing exciting football, we're not seeing good football, we're also not getting the results, and we're breaking a lot of bad records that you don't want to break. So and Richard's saying it was still entertaining, and I think that might be at the end of the day a little bit different, because if it's entertaining, you're looking at it and like you're saying like, well, we're not getting the results, but there is something there. At least we're still seeing something. I think a lot of people right now, they see absolutely nothing, and that's why they're not willing to give him that chance, Axe. And Axe says he sees potential in the way we play, and that's where me and you disagree. Because I don't see it, but I it also, I don't like it. And Lions saying the proof was Aberdeen. Yeah, but then you can make the argument for Ten Hag, the proof is Ajax. You know, but I know it's a little bit different circumstances. But Aberdeen are still the only team to beat Real Madrid in the European Cup final, and that is the big huge difference. So yeah. Let me see if I find anything else before we end the show, because we've been running for 2 hours. But it's been very, very good, so I kind of let it go on a little bit longer than I was going to. But yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. So we actually have had a real discussion and not gotten too stuck into any particular moment into the match. So I've enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it seems like I'm being a little bit quiet or mellow, I have I have people in the house that are they're sleeping right now because they work night shift, so I don't want to wake them up and be too loud. So if I seem a little bit flat or something like that, it's because of that as well. I can't get all animated as I sometimes usually do. So a lot of people just saying the same stuff. Yeah, I know. I want something more like interesting facts or something. A United fan saying, I've become tired of this club. I'm bored. I'm bored of this cycle. I'm bored of having to sit here week in and week out and watch a bunch of spineless men pretend they care. Yeah, and I mean, I think that sentiment is shared a lot more than we would like for it to be. So definitely not the greatest look for sure. Have Spurs lost? Can somebody update us? Has Spurs lost the match? Because I'm seeing people saying Spurs being Spurs. So has Spursy come back in? Um, can't compare it to Ajax. Yeah, Ajax is saying the proof for Erik Ten Hag is 2 trophies in 2 years, which I think, to be fair, Ajax, I think that is true. He does have 2 trophies in 2 years, so and that is more than Arteta. And there is an argument for that aspect versus the other aspect, as one team is challenging for the league, as in Champions League, but they haven't won any trophies. Meanwhile, Erik Ten Hag has, and he certainly does have that in his pocket. But at some point, you can only play that card so much, I guess. I play a little bit of devil's advocate with you. I don't, I'm not picking on you, Axe. Richard saying, I think, to be honest, we all could see what he was trying to build. However, even Sir Alex Ferguson would not have got unlimited time, and the days of dynasties are gone. Fergie broke the freaking old firm. The United Way documentary explains the Fergie story quite well. I watched it and it was very, very good. And it was very good, Lyle. Lion saying, where can you watch that? I believe it's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Lions, I think it's on Netflix, or it was on Netflix. If it's not on Netflix, it might be on Amazon. One of the others, if they still have it there. But I remember watching it on one of them when it came out for sure. Brighton beat Spurs 3-2. I mean, Ange must be pissed. Lions saying Ten Hag won the Dutch league with Ajax. What a big achievement. I'm being sarcastic again. Well, he did win the Dutch league. He also won some other trophies in the Dutch league. And then the thing for me was, I think they performed very well in the Champions League while he was there. And, I think that also helped, because I think the way they played football and, the manner in which they were getting results there, I think, was one of the reasons why a lot of United fans wanted him and the style of play. But that hasn't come here, and he's obviously, made a different decision on how to play at United compared to what he was doing at Ajax. Whether he was able to do it or not, and you can argue, the players and all that. But I do remember a lot of fans, and including myself, because that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted him, because I thought that was his actual style, philosophy, and stuff like that. And I didn't think that, like, I thought he was gonna come and implement something like that at United, where it was like attacking, exciting. But obviously he had a different plan. And like, I can't really blame him. Like, I can't be angry at him for doing that in per se, because it was me who thought, there was no guarantee. He never said that. He never said that he was going to do it and then didn't do it. That was just us. So expectations versus reality once again, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. More statistics at the end of this game, which the game already ended. So at the end of the game, United have gone from 12th in XG, an injury-ravaged season, to 12th after another 200 million and without an injury crisis. They will have gone from 15th in XGA to 14th in XGA. Facing the facts, United are and have been a bottom half team for 14 months, and that is coming from the Muppeteers with his statistics. And he's put up some, pictures of the XG and the statistics and stuff like that. So again, not even the statistics are helping Erik Ten Hag in any sort of way right now. And definitely not the visuals of that. People putting up pictures of Van Nistelrooy motivating the lads ahead of the kickoff and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, we do have an update from Fabrizio Romano as well. If you're wondering about the manager situation, we could do that now. Fabrizio has said about 50 minutes ago that there's nothing ongoing between Manchester United and Simeone Inzaghi in the future. We will see, but for now there is nothing. So there is a possibility that, you know, if Ten Hag is let go of his job, Rude takes over as interim, maybe till the end of the season, and then we get Simeone Inzaghi or somebody else as a permanent manager in the summer and not in the current season if somebody that they want isn't necessarily available. Ten Hag also had some things to say. He said Rasmus just came back. He is not 100%. He is our scorer. I would say our top scorer. The others, we know they can score, like Rashford, who scored and made an assist in Porto. Today, he had chances. Garnacho has been a threat since the start of the season. He scores and makes assists. Bruno is capable of scoring. It will come. We trust the players. One day it will click. I mean, that's kind of a crazy statement, especially that ending to say we trust the players and one day it will click. One day it will click. One day it will click. You do you not grasp the situation, Erik Ten Hag? One day it will click. What day? When it's too fucking late. Like, come on. I backed him and I've defended him on a lot of his comments. And I said a lot of the things he says is for PR and to the media because he doesn't like the media and he doesn't want to give them answers. But to say one day it will click when you're about to get sacked based off of a couple results. The fact that, you know, you could have got sacked today if you lost and if you didn't set up in the manner that you set up. And that's actually a point I wanted to point out as well. You know, you notice how we set up the way we set up today was we set up to not concede, we set up not to lose. Now, we didn't set up in that manner against Liverpool, and we didn't set up in that manner against Tottenham. And we got destroyed in both of those matches. And if we set up in the same way that we set up against Liverpool and played the same way, and we set up in the same way we did against Tottenham and played in the same way, we would have lost 3-0 to Aston Villa today. Which is why, at the time, I argued, and I understand it's unacceptable in the grand scheme of things, but I argued when we played Liverpool that we should have set up the way we set up today. We should have made it difficult for Liverpool. We should have made it frustrating. We should have been compact because clearly this team is not ready or is not capable to play toe-to-toe with those teams. We cannot do it. We concede too much. We're too sloppy. We are too sloppy. So one day it will click. You can click the like button for this video. Yes, one day, hopefully, everybody comes in here and as many viewers as we have, one day, I hope they click it. Please click it. Ten Hag saying the hierarchy is still behind me, ? There's nothing that makes me think that something has changed because we communicate in a very open, very transparent way. Well, I don't know if that necessarily works like that, but, you know, I think, you know, when they make the decision, if they make the decision to sack you, Erik, you know, you're not going to know that until they tell you, which I'm sure they will contact you and communicate that with you. But when it's just them behind closed doors and they're having their meeting and they're talking amongst each other, you don't know what they're saying, do you? So, you know, they could tell you one thing and they could be saying another thing or thinking something else. So, and Ten Hag also said, I don't know what he was asked, but he said, you said it very well. The noise is external. Internally, we're disappointed and we know that we have to do better. We have to score more goals because that is what is lacking in the last series of matches. The other areas, I think we are doing very well. The number of clean sheets says something about the defensive organization. We have progressed a lot in defensive transition. Our build-up play is good. We are calm. We have chances apart today where we should have created more. This area in the opponent's box, we have to be more killer, more clinical. We have to work on it. But I don't agree with that, Erik, because I don't see how you're gonna be more killer, more clinical when a day like today we didn't create shit because we set up very defensively, and I still disagree with the fact that we are very slow. Our buildup is very slow, and we don't play direct or attacking intent. So I don't understand how you think that, you know, we're gonna start scoring enough goals to be winning matches when we have to play so defensive so we don't concede. And, you know, and you might say the number of clean sheets, but we didn't, we did a little small period where we did concede goals, and it was because we tried to play more attack and score more goals because we're struggling for goals because we're defending, and then we concede goals. So like I said, it's just very inconsistent. We can't seem to do both. We either do one or the other. So that's a huge problem, and if he can't sort that out, it's only going to be a matter of time, in the next couple matches before he ends up losing his job due to results. He also said on the hierarchy, I talk to them all the time, and right after the game, I have to do my job, talk to the players, manage the players, and answer your questions. We talk every week. I would even say every day we talk. So there will probably be a discussion with them. He also said a fourth clean sheet says a lot about our control with and without the ball. We are very well organized. Since the start of the season, we have a lot of chances. Today, not many, but we had some, and with Rashford before, even after halftime, and a free kick from Bruno that hit the crossbar. Onana is the current leader in the Golden Glove race with 4 clean sheets. So we do have that. I mean, defensively in the league, we haven't been bad. We've been good, but the attacking display and output suffers because of that. And I think we saw an example of it in Porto when we tried to go and score, and then we weren't defensively shaped the way we were today. For example, we ended up conceding 3 goals and almost lost the match if it wasn't for Harry Maguire header at the end of the game. So Ten Hag also said, I'm very pleased with Rashford's performance. Garnacho has been good all season, but other players can score too. Højlund will join his national team and return back even sharper with more playing time. And I agree with that in terms of Rasmus. I think Rasmus is going to be important and hopefully will contribute to the goal scoring because we need it. Ten Hag said we lost a game in the period since the last break, but it was a game where we played with 10 men for more than halftime. We have to improve our ability to score because it's difficult to win without scoring. Well, that I agree with you, Erik. It is very difficult to win without scoring. And we do have to improve our ability to score, I think, but the problem with the ability to score is that we don't play in the manner that allows us to score and create more dangerous chances, because clearly if we create a couple chances and we're only scoring 0 or 1 goals, then that means that we need to create more chances so that we could at least get 1 or 2. Axe saying behind closed doors the rat and his minions are forming a human centipede. That is what they do. Maybe it's time to put our trust in Hugo as our striker. I don't know about him. That's why we are boring, not funny. No, yeah, I mean, there are areas where we are improving. Now we have to finish to win games. We have to score more. I mean, you keep saying we have to score more. We know that. I said that. Many of us said that. Many, the fan base says that. But, like, we don't see how it's going to come from the way we are playing. We disagree in that notion. I think that's where the standoff is. He thinks that we're going to get goals in the way we're playing. We just need to be more clinical. And I think a lot of us are arguing that we don't play in the manner for us to score goals. Therefore, the goals will not come playing in the way we play. So we're good defensively, but because we're good defensively, we cannot score. Ten Hag said they had to take off Mazzawari. We had to take Ten Hag and Maguire and Maz. They had to take them off at halftime. We have to wait for the diagnosis. So I think Maguire is going to be out for a while. Maz, hopefully. I mean, this is where it is again. Hopefully Maz isn't out. We do have an international break. I think Maguire might not be fit though, coming back from the international break. Hopefully Maz will be fit, and I would advise him, not to go on international duty if he has it. But this is the thing, if Maz is injured, we're fucked. Because then we only have Delo, and what are we gonna do? Play Lindelof right back? I mean, that's not effective or efficient. As good as he did today, and I give him credit for coming in, and he played good. He did play good. And actually, I do want to give him like a 6.5 7. I kind of gave the whole team a 5. You know, barring a couple players. I think Maguire was above average. Johnny Evans was man of the match. Lindelof was good when he came in. I think Eriksson and Mano were pretty good too. But a majority of the team was a 5. Anything else that we got? Ten Hag said Maguire wasn't feeling well and I had to take him out. Well, obviously he could barely walk, you know what I mean? Ten Hag on Rashford's exit. He said, yeah, that's one of the reasons he came off for his yellow card, another foul, and he probably would have been sent off. We couldn't take that risk. He said, in Porto, our game was very good in the first 25 minutes. At Palace, too, we used the ball very well, which I agree. There have been games where we have been good. Today, we didn't have many chances, but we played against a great team. And yeah, I guess so. But the part that I disagree with that is, you know, you mentioned it. You said in Porto, our game was very good in the first 25 minutes. And you said at Palace, too. And I think that, for me, is where you have to open your eyes a little bit. I think we did use the ball very well, and I think we did do good in that period, but the match is 90 minutes, Eric. It's not 25 minutes, and that is a problem when we're only doing it for 25 minutes. 25 minutes isn't good enough. 25 minutes ain't going to get you the results you need. You got to do it for 90, and we're not doing it for 90. Today, we did a very good defensive display for 90, but attacking was 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of the whole match. So, you know, and just some stats for Johnny Evans here. He had 54 touches. He won 4 out of 4 tackles. He had 1 block, 3 clearances, 2 headed clearances, 3 recoveries, 5 passes into the final third. He won 5 out of 5 aerial duels, and he won 6 out of 7 ground duels. I mean, aged like fine wine. I mean, what a performance from Johnny Evans. So, for sure, 110% man of the match. It's got to be, you know. Anthony left back. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be happy about that and won't throw a shit fit. Racing last year, we make Maguire the laughing stock, and today was the best. I mean, last year he was good too. I think a lot of people gave him credit. It was the year before that and the years before that, Ray. But last year Maguire was good, and I think a lot of people gave him credit. And they gave him praise, and rightfully so, because he was good last year too. He was good last year. And he's continued on. And you know, he was very good today. He was. Unfortunate that he had to go off injured, and I hope he's not out for too long, because he doesn't deserve it at this point. Not that any player deserves to get injured, but what I'm saying is, like, he was good, and he doesn't deserve to miss matches when you know he's going in and he's doing a good job. Can you imagine the bust up when Ten Hag tell him he needs to play a whole match at left back? Oh, absolute disaster. He'll start running around in circles inside of the dressing room. He'll start running circles around Erik Ten Hag. I will need to leave soon. No, we're gonna end. We're gonna end anyway because I'm starving. I didn't eat anything, and it's NFL Sunday in America, so I'm gonna go watch that as well. I really can remember a bad performance from Evans since he returned. That's what I'm saying. Evans has been super solid. He's been really great since he came. So yeah. But on that note, we are going to end it. We will be live tomorrow. Give me a second and I'll try and tell you a time that I'm going to shoot for. I just need to check something real quick to check the analytics. I mean, oh, tomorrow we can shoot for a 7 p.m. UK time. We will go live. Or 7:30, 7 p.m. we could do it. Yeah, somewhere around there. 7:30 p.m. UK time, we will go live. We'll talk a little bit about whatever news comes out tomorrow, and then, you know, anything else that we could touch up on, and you know, what we look for. It's going to be a little bit of a, you know, slow week because of the internationals maybe, but usually when there is internationals sometimes, and I probably expected because of the circumstances we're in, the negativity. There might be a lot of reports, so it might be busy with news in terms of that aspect. And we do have to keep in mind that the hierarchy are meeting on Tuesday, so I think Tuesday is going to be a lot of news, a lot of maybe press briefs from the club, or leaks, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah. But thank you guys. It's been real good. What's on the menu? Um, we made ravioli yesterday, so we got some of that left over. But it's actually my sister's birthday today, so shout out to my sister. She is 25 today. So we might order some food. You know, but yeah. Or we might go to a restaurant. So I'm not sure yet. Whatever she wants to eat, really, it's on her today. You know what I mean? So, whatever she wants, we'll have. So yeah. But yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, I'll let her know. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. And I just want to leave off on the note of, I really do appreciate you guys. You guys make this just great. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I really do appreciate that you guys are always in here. And you guys are always here. You're always here. You stay for the duration of the show. You're always getting involved in the chat, so it means a lot to me. And I wanted to ask something that I didn't want to ask last time. I mean, like, I wanted to ask last time, but it didn't pop into my head until later. So remember, you guys, right before we go, remember you guys asked me last time on the show, why I started doing this, and I gave you the answer I gave, and I thought of something that I was like, maybe I should have asked, and not to put any pressure on you guys, but just to know, maybe, why do you guys like this channel? Why do you guys come here? Why do you guys listen to me? Why do you guys join in this channel? Like, what do you like about the channel that I do, or that we do, that you guys enjoy? Because it's from your perspective, obviously, because you guys are the community as well. So I just want to, and then maybe I could use those things that you enjoy to grow the community, because that's really what I'm trying to do right now. I'm really just trying to grow the community. It's not really about the views or getting the super chats or whatever. I mean, those are nice added bonuses or whatever, but I really just want to grow the community so we have as big as a community. And if I could get more people like you, we would have a really, really beautiful community. So Richard says the interaction. I will respond in the comments after the end. Yeah, that sounds good. And yeah, if you guys could do that too, you don't have to or whatever, but if you can, you could go in there, write anything underneath the show, because apparently YouTube likes that stuff. So if we could get more comments underneath that would help the channel as well. I think that's what I've heard. So yeah, that would be great too if you guys could do that. And you could literally write anything. You could write whatever you want. It don't even matter at that point. But yeah. Lion says he likes the chilled, relaxed atmosphere. All right. Lyle says he agrees with Richard's the interaction, the rain, the rain out of your comments and direct conversations to that. The live show is super dope. Well, thank you guys. I really do appreciate that. I'm trying my best. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get a hang of thing. I keep messing up the intros. I can never start strong, but I'm working on it. I think I've gotten better over time a little bit, but I'm still not where I want to be, but I'll get there. I know I will. Sometimes my head goes blank. Obviously, you guys see I have a lot to say and I get very in depth in certain things, but it's always the beginning of the show, and I try to make a good impression, because some people, they click and it's like the first 30 seconds and they click out. So I'm working on it. I know I'll get there. For sure, I definitely will. But yeah, thank you guys, and reading out of your comments. Yeah, thank you. That's good to know, and good to take into account. So thank you guys. I do appreciate that. And I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a good evening, good night, eat some good food, relax, watch a good movie. Lions, maybe go check out that United I already forgot what it's called, but with Ferguson, definitely it's a great, fantastic watch. You know, you're gonna feel some type of way after watching it when it ends. So, you know, definitely go do that if you got some time. I definitely recommend it. But yeah, stay safe, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. UK time. I'll schedule it an hour before so you know exactly what time. But be good, guys. Thank you very much, and stay safe.